Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is CavemanAston and today I have built myself a manometer, or manometer as I sometimes like to refer to it. I've got a project coming up where I want to measure some pressure differences, and I've had some of the equipment laying around for the best part of a couple of years because I wanted to originally measure some pressure differences under the bonnet of my car to work out where best to place the air intake. That project is still going to be an ongoing one and may never get around to it, but this one I'm hoping to get done soon. Going to measure the pressure difference between the inside and outside of the house while using a fan to blow air out of the house, try and find leaks and cracks in the house. So I've built this, and basically we've got an input column, so I can put pressure in or negative pressure on one side. I can swap it over to the other side, little barb at the top. Got a singular column here, comes down. Now I've got like a two-way valve set up, so I can have the same size tube on this side, so that it is a 1-to-1 ratio, or, which a lot of the ones that I've seen on YouTube don't have, is a scaled version. So for every sort of centimetre or so that this moves, this should move 1/10 of that. So that means I can do much more accurate scaled measurements and allow me to measure much smaller pressure differences. So hopefully that will actually come in useful. So what I'll do is I'll just let the video play of a sort of time lapse of me building this and putting it all together. I apologise in advance, the camera did turn itself off partway through one of the time lapses and I don't know how much video is left, so apologies in advance. So I hope you enjoy it. I'll do a little demo at the end, and I'll see you on the other side of the video. Okay, so here we go, all assembled. Got the main tube up here, which obviously I can then run to the outside world. Now what I'll probably do is I'll probably trim it here, and I've got just a quick connect, so I can put one there and another one here, or just straight off of this. It'll allow me to choose which side I want to put the excess tubing on to run to the outside world, whether I want a positive or negative pressure difference across the pipe. But you've got the single tube runs down here. These bits of wood are just holding it in place, and then you can see, well, you will be able to see the water that I'm about to fill it up with. Here and here it's a little bit loose, but it holds it in place just fine. This, I've used some old worktop stuff that I've cut just with a slight angle on, because this was the really bendy bit. These I've got a few more clips, and that would have been okay, but I thought it kind of keeps it in keeping. So you've got continuous run down to the bottom here, and then you've got two isolator valves here, which allow you to use either this tube, which will give you a 1-to-1 ratio, or this tube and this tube, which gives you about a 10-to-1, or you could use both of them, which gives you about an 11:1 ratio. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little nozzle filling thing. I'm just going to fill it up with water till it reaches about halfway across all three of them, and we can give it a few tests. Okay, here we are, nice and close and personal with it. So I've got my input tube this side. Just going to do a quick demonstration. So I don't know how well you guys can see it because I can't see it very well. So I'll point out the water level as I'm going. So the water level is here, here and here. I'll just open up all the tubes to make sure it's all level. So what I'll do is I'll have it this tube and this tube working as one loop, and this one's not being used at all. So I'm going to blow on it, and so it's not as hard as I can blow, but it's quite a lot of effort to blow that much. And then what I'll do is I'll close that one off and I'll move on to the big one. And what we should see is, so on that last blow I've gone from there basically down to the screws at the bottom, and this has then moved from there to the screws at the top because it's the same distance. What we should see is this should move to the screws at the bottom, and that should only move a tiny amount, and it should be easier to do. So like that much versus that much. So what would probably be even more obvious, so and that was a lot easier to blow on, and the reason being is air does in fact weigh an amount, although we don't sort of notice it in day-to-day life. I'm having to push that much air plus that much water on top of that as it moves up. So I'm having to use my breath to push up twice this amount of water and then sustain it there. So obviously that's got a weight associated with it, and it's based on how tall the column of water is, not how sort of wide the column of water is. So what's happening is when I move to this wider tube, the column of water's wider, so the water in here goes down and it spreads over a larger area, which means it's actually easier to push because the height doesn't increase as quickly. So this means I can take very small changes in air and apply it on this tube potentially as a positive pressure. It will push it only a tiny amount, but it will cause a big difference to appear here, which I'm going to put a ruler on so I can then actually measure that. Okay, so that is it all done. So yeah, I'm pleased with the way it works. This is definitely prototype, so it's also just bits of wood that I've had laying about in the garage, finally put them to a bit of use. But it all works, so I'm pleased with that. If I do use it more, then I'll look at improving it, but for the moment it's possibly only a one or two off kind of use project, and it will just end up becoming an ornament on the garage wall. So maybe I should decorate it anyway, but I don't have paint at the moment, so I have to buy that, and I don't want to wait to edit the video till after I've painted. So here it is in its current state. I'm pleased with it. It's worked as well as I expected it. The only thing that I might do is add some food colouring perhaps to this so it stands out a bit more, and I'm hoping to get some magnetic strips so you can get like a double-sided sticky stuff with a magnet built into it, and I can just slap a steel ruler on here, and then that will allow me to measure the difference more accurately. and then from that I can calculate the pressure difference across it. But yeah, I'm quite pleased. So the next video I have here, sort of, I'm going to be mounting this fan onto a chunk of wood, filling in the window frame that we've got in our living room, and going to blow the air out of the room and, in theory, the whole house, slightly depressurise it. Hopefully this will come into its own and actually show me the pressure difference, and the idea will be that I can go around and feel where the air is getting dragged into the house, start filling up all the gaps and cracks, start trying to make it more airtight so that come winter it's more airtight, more comfortable, spend a lot less on heating is the important bit. But this should also measure that progressive increase as it becomes more and more airtight. So yeah, I look forward to doing that, so hopefully you guys will. Obviously don't forget to subscribe if you do want to see it. So thank you very much everybody for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.